Hi, welcome to Future Technos. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the Garmin Fenix 8 Pro, one of the most advanced multi-sport smartwatches Garmin has ever released. In this script, we'll break down everything you need to know about the watch. We'll talk about the new LTE and satellite connectivity, the improvements in display technology, the differences from the standard Fenix 8, the new features added through software, and also the challenges and drawbacks that come with this premium device. We'll look at real use cases, battery performance, subscription costs, and compare it with other options in the market, so by the end you'll know if this smartwatch is really worth the investment. The Fenix 8 Pro is not just an upgrade in small details. Garmin has tried to create a more connected device that works independently from your phone. With LTE and satellite support, you are no longer tied to carrying your smartphone in every situation. For athletes, hikers, climbers, and outdoor adventurers, this can be a major advantage. But with these new capabilities, Garmin has also introduced subscription plans, and this has created some debate among users. Before we go into those details, let's first look at what really makes the Fenix 8 Pro different from the Fenix 8. On the right side of the Fenix 8 Pro, you now get options for LTE and satellite connections. This is something that was missing from the standard Fenix 8, which only had Wi-Fi and the usual phone connection. The ability to switch between these new modes is important, because you can now choose how the watch communicates with the outside world. You can set it to use both LTE and satellite. Only LTE, only satellite, or completely switch it off. When set to automatic, the watch follows a clear priority order. First, it checks for Wi-Fi. If Wi-Fi is available, it uses that. If not, it checks for your paired smartphone. If your phone is not available, it tries LTE, and if there's no LTE signal, it finally goes to satellite. This step-by-step process ensures that you always have a way to stay connected, even in remote conditions. But there's an important detail here. The Fenix 8 Pro doesn't use the normal LTE that you know from 4G or 5G networks. Instead, it uses a special low-power version called LTE-M. This version is much more energy efficient, and it has better coverage indoors and in remote areas. The downside is that LTE-M can't transfer large amounts of data, so you won't be streaming music or videos. But for sending messages, location updates, or emergency signals, it works perfectly. Another key point is that you cannot insert your own SIM card. The system is managed directly by Garmin, which means you have to rely on Garmin's subscription service. This subscription is divided into 4 different plans, from the most basic to the premium level. No matter which one you choose, the SOS emergency function is always included. This is good because you don't have to pay extra just to access emergency calls. The main differences between the plans come in how much satellite communication you get, while LTE access remains more complete, even with the smaller plans. To make use of LTE and satellite, Garmin requires you to use the Garmin Messenger app. This app is pre-installed on the watch and can also be downloaded on your phone. The interesting part is that the person you're communicating with doesn't need to own a Garmin watch. They just need to have the app on their phone, and they can send and receive messages with you. If they don't have the app, they can still receive your messages as SMS, though it comes through a different number assigned by Garmin. They can click a link and reply, so you still get their response directly on your watch. With LTE, you can send text messages, share your location, and even send short voice messages. Each voice message can be up to 30 seconds long. If the receiver has the Messenger app, they will also see a transcription of your voice message. Photos can also be sent from family members or friends to your watch, but sending photos from the watch itself isn't possible. You can also use pre-written quick replies if you don't want to type. One of the more exciting features is the ability to make calls directly from the Fenix 8 Pro. If your phone is nearby, the watch works just like before, routing calls through your phone. But if your phone is not with you, the watch can still make calls using LTE through the Garmin Messenger system. However, there's a limitation. You can't call just any phone number. The person on the other side must also have the Garmin Messenger app installed. This is where some people see a weakness, because unlike the Apple Watch or some other LTE smartwatches, you can't call any mobile or landline number. It's a closed system. The Fenix 8 Pro also improves on safety features. Live track, fall detection, and SOS all work through LTE and satellite. If your phone is not available, the watch still sends your location in real time to selected contacts. If an accident is detected, the watch can send alerts. And in the case of SOS, your exact position is updated every minute for the first 10 minutes, then every 10 minutes, and later every 30 minutes if you stop moving. This level of safety is important for people doing long runs, cycling in remote areas, or climbing in the mountains. When it comes to satellite connectivity, Garmin uses the Skylo system instead of Iridium, which is used in Garmin's inReach devices. Skylo satellites fly higher in orbit, and while they cover large parts of Europe and North America, the global coverage is not complete. In fact, if you go too far north or into certain regions, coverage drops. Another limitation is that you have to stay still and hold the watch steady, pointing it towards the satellite to maintain the signal. That means it's not ideal for constant movement, unlike the inReach devices. With satellites, you can send text messages and check in with your location, but you cannot make calls, send voice messages, or use live track in real time. Now let's talk about the hardware changes. The Fenix 8 Pro introduces a brighter display compared to the Fenix 8. Even at its first brightness level, it matches the highest brightness of the older Fenix 8. This makes it easier to read in bright sunlight. Garmin has also released a micro-LED version of the watch, which can reach up to 4,500 nits of brightness. This is extremely bright and helps with readability from wider angles. But it comes at a cost, both in terms of price and battery life. The micro-LED model is thicker and drains more power than the regular version. Battery life is always a big concern for Garmin users. In normal GPS mode with LTE live track running, the 47mm version of the Fenix 8 Pro lasts about 11 hours, while the 51mm version can go up to 19 hours. Without LTE, using only multiband GPS, the smaller version lasts up to 30 hours, and the larger one up to 53 hours. These are still strong numbers, but noticeably lower compared to the Fenix 8 without LTE. The micro-LED model has the shortest endurance, especially in smartwatch mode. In terms of size, the Fenix 8 Pro has gained thickness compared to the Fenix 8. The 47mm version is now 16mm thick compared to 13.8mm before. The 51mm version is 16.5mm thick, and the micro-LED version is the thickest at over 17mm. This extra bulk is due to the new display and connectivity hardware. Some users might find it too large for daily wear, especially those with smaller wrists. Pricing is another major talking point. The Fenix 8 Pro starts at around €1,300 and goes up to €2,000 for the micro-LED version. At this price, expectations are high. But you also have to factor in the subscription. After the first 30 days of free testing, you need to pay monthly if you want to keep LTE and satellite functions active, including SOS. Many users feel that a life-saving function like SOS should not be locked behind a subscription, especially at this price level. Competing watches like the Apple Watch Ultra offer at least 2 years of free SOS service. Despite these issues, the Fenix 8 Pro still delivers a powerful performance. The LTE messaging works smoothly, even indoors and basements. The satellite communication works as expected, though it requires patience. And aside from connectivity, you still get all the Garmin fitness and training features. Running metrics, cycling power, triathlon coaching, and recovery tracking are all included. In fact, many of these were already added to the standard Fenix 8 through software updates, so the difference is mainly in hardware. At the end of the day, the Fenix 8 Pro is a watch designed for people who need independence from their phones and extra safety in extreme conditions. If you just want great fitness tracking and a reliable GPS watch, the Fenix 8 is still more than enough and often available at discounts. But if you need LTE and satellite for peace of mind, or you want the brightest micro-LED screen, then the Fenix 8 Pro is the one to get. The question is whether the high price and subscription model makes sense for you.